And good evening, everyone. This is the Rochester City School District. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, and welcome to our special meeting with, again, the Rochester Board of Education. This is to convene for consideration of resolutions. I would like to open by acknowledging that we do have Commissioner Elliott and our State Monitor, Jaime Alicea, present online with us this evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And we do not have any speakers listed for the special resolutions. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to bundle Resolutions 601 through 611.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor of bundling the motions?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay, and did you catch that? 2 or 3 ayes, 1 nay? Okay, and so at this time, the motion carries.
Do we have Cynthia's
sorry.
vote online?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Commissioner Elliott is not on camera, so she's not able to vote. She would have to come on camera, so you only had 3.
Okay.
For that? Yeah.
Yeah, three yays and 1 nay, right?
You need 4.
Oh, that's
4.
right.
Commissioner Elliott is online
Thank
now,
you.
so, but you didn't ask for discussion. So
Yes.
you're going to ask for
So
discussion.
let me open this back up. Do I need to rescind anything at this time? Okay. I would like to open it for discussion.
Yes, 1 second, please.
Just to clarify, you only asked for a motion to bundle the resolutions. This is not a discussion about the resolutions yet.
Right.
We don't have that motion.
So the fact that we had 3 votes, so can we do a revote? Or, okay, thank you.
I'm just trying to,
Elliott, yeah.
Commissioner Elliott?
Yes,
Okay, so there was a vote just taken around,
I heard it.
Oh, okay, I did not capture your vote.
yes.
Okay.
So now it
that
has
is now
passed,
technically
4.
4.
Yes.
And so the motion does carry for bundling the resolutions. At this time, I do want to open the resolutions for discussion. And so I will, Commissioner Griffin, I saw that you had a question regarding the resolution.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So now you need a motion to vote on the resolution.
Lord-
So now you, yep, you're okay.
Okay, so we're bundling. We've agreed to bundle. Forgive me all this evening. I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 601 through 611 at this time.
Correct.
Moved by Vice President Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Patterson.
any discussion?
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yes, I agree with some of them, but not all of them. That's why I'm not choosing to bundle. So I'm saying nay to bundling because I want to remove some of them out of the actual resolutions so that I can vote on them accordingly.
Okay, so did you want to identify the resolution you may have a question with? Because it's open for discussion, so you can.
Right,
If there's a
so-
specific resolution, you can discuss that at this time.
So personally, with these resolutions, because we are in the middle of a transition for me and we have a budget going on, I don't feel that it would be appropriate to make any changes or do anything in reference to finances with everything that's happening now. Once our budget has been completed, I would be able to address these. But when we're talking about tenures and we're talking about putting people in positions that are going to supersede our incoming superintendent, I think it's all fair that they have the rights to do that versus us doing it for them. So I think that for me, he needs to be the one to address these concerns or address the needs of our district. That's the way I'm looking at it. Also, the other thing that I would like to say is there's missing information. There was missing information that was not on the actual resolutions that I questioned. And if we're talking about retirement, that's fine. Resignations, terminations, and amendments, that's fine. But anything that is addressing or making any type of changes that can affect the budget is not going to be something that I would be privy to.
Thank you.
I would not be able to, I'm sorry, I would not be able to say yes to at this time.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Griffin, for your comments. And so I'm going to give the superintendent an opportunity to give points of clarity for the misinformation.
So, Commissioner Griffin, I do want to address your comment. Just an FYI,
the business or the work of the district has to continue. There are no new positions that are being brought forth before you. These are already budgeted positions currently. And as you may recall, any of these decisions, I did say that I am meeting and talking with the incoming superintendent on a weekly basis to ensure that he's up to speed as to what's going on. But just to give you reference to one thing, for instance, tenure. We have a specific deadline regarding tenure. If we were to wait until Dr. Rosser actually begins, then those individuals would automatically get tenure even if we didn't vote on them, because of the fact that there are laws and deadlines that we must follow. But I do understand your concerns, but do know that these are actually being talked about with him if there's any different concerns, but there's no adds to the budget.
Okay, but has all the proper protocols been done?
Yes, they-
With each one? No, they have not.
Okay,
So
Commissioner
the one-
Griffin.
Hold on one second, and let me just finish.
I'm going to
Mr.
allow you to
President.
finish, and then we're going to move forward with the
Okay,
resolution.
let me just, allow me to finish. Has all positions on here been done properly as far as the process, on this list? On this list, has all the processes been out there? Have you literally submitted, sent out information to everybody to apply for these positions that are on here? And do you want me to talk to one specifically? I can do that, or do we need to go into executive session?
If you have any items that are specific, that would need to go into executive session.
Okay.
But all I can say is, like, for instance, I mean, the contract substitutes, they get hired the same way. We have some appointments, provisional to permanent. Those are things that happen on a reoccurring basis. It just naturally happens after they're a year or so in the organization, things of that nature. But if you have something specific that you're referencing, you would need to take it to executive session.
Okay, yes, because there is some issues and concerns that I have.
Okay,
And to make
so
sure
what
that
I'm going to
we're
ask you to
following
do,
the
just to not
guidelines.
prolong it, because this gets really long, and I want to be as concise and succinct as possible in our articulation of our concerns. And if you can articulate specifically what resolution you would like to ask to go into executive session, I'll be happy to honor that.
It would be Resolution 604.
Is that the only resolution?
At this time, as far as following
Okay.
the process, policy, the process.
So I'm going to defer to our legal counsel to ensure that I do this properly. Would she need to entertain a motion to move 604 into executive session?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just, motion, actually, motion to amend the bundle.
So it
Okay.
is 601 through 611,
Mm-hmm.
except for 604.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat that then. I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the bundle 601 through 611 with the exclusion of Resolution 604.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson.
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor of amending the bundle from 601 to 611 with the exception of 604?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
So you were saying nay to the very thing you just asked for? You,
Remove certain ones, you only remove.
I'm a nay too. Sorry, y'all. I was trying to find her button.
You said 607.
so I'm gonna, give me Ms. Commissioner Griffin. What I asked is if there was a specific resolution that you wanted us to discuss.
Right.
And you identified Resolution 604, correct?
Right, so we're just talking amending to amend it,
So
not
what
to,
I've
not
just
to approve
done
it.
is we are motioning to move 604 into executive session.
Okay, I'm
And if you want
sorry.
that to
Yes, you're
happen,
right.
then you would
Okay.
want to say yay.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
And then I did record, Vice President LeBron has joined the Zoom as well, and she has recorded as a nay for that. And Commissioner Santiago, did you?
Yay.
Okay, so the motion carries, and we'll move 604 into executive session. All in favor
Aye.
of okay. All in favor of resolutions 601 through 611 with the exception of 604?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Am I done, Raheem? Am I doing okay? All right. The motion carries. Resolution 601 through 611 have carried, and 604 will move into executive session. And at this time, we may recess into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment, employment status of specific individuals, to discuss matters made confidential pursuant to federal or state law, and to receive the advice of general counsel as permitted by Section 105 of the Open Meetings Law.
It's a motion.
All in favor of entertaining a motion to leave and go into executive session at this time?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson, second by Commissioner Griffin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you for your patience, my viewing audience. We will be going into executive session at this time, and we'll be back. And thank you. We have returned from executive session to our special meeting, and at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 604.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Malloy.
Wait a second.
May I have a second, please? Seconded by Commissioner Patterson. All in favor of Resolution 604?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Resolution 604 carries. And at this time, we're going to conclude the special meeting. Do I need to motion that? I'm going to motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn the special meeting this evening.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is concluded. Thank you. We'll be going into our budget deliberations next. And thank you to our viewing audience for your patience. Welcome to the Rochester City School District's 2025-26 budget presentation or deliberations this evening. I'm going to actually turn the mic over to Interim Superintendent Demario Strickland, who will start off with a budget presentation for this evening.
Thank you. Great evening, President Simmons, Vice President Malloy, fellow commissioners, our state monitor, our fiscal consultant, Dr. Potter, and all my staff and colleagues and the overall community. I am pleased to present or start a presentation of the 25-26 budget. Next slide. Just always want to ground ourselves in what our mission and vision is, really activating those dreams and unlocking potential, and hopefully what comes out of that is that this budget is a representation of doing that, with also maintaining fiscal responsibility within our district. Next. So for the 2025-26 budget process, what needed to be done was we needed to review current positions that we hold within our budget. We also looked at the various vacancies that we had across the system. We also looked at the retirements that were coming forth and also the contracts. Now, the reason why we did that is because we needed to find a way to continuously consolidate or right-size the district with positions. The work continues. Hopefully, we get a budget tomorrow that is approved by the state education department, or excuse me, New York State governor and legislator, and that will actually determine the direction of where we may need to go. That includes if we can put funds in a different location, perhaps the federal contingency that we are possibly considering, or it may tell us that we need to continue to make cuts to right size. But I really want to stress that one of the largest parts of this process was to ensure that we were not using the fund balance because one, we know that we have to right size, and two, we don't know what that federal landscape looks like, and we want to ensure that the district is financially set in case there's drastic measures that have to be taken or that are taken by the federal government. Continue, next. I'm going to turn the mic over to our acting chief financial officer, Derek Blair.
Good evening, everyone. Just an overview of our budget that we're going to be deliberating on tonight. The budget total appropriations, our anticipated spend, has increased by $34.6 million compared to last year. Our special aid budget was reduced by $3.7 million, and our general fund revenue increased by $38.3 million. Excuse me. Thank you. Our general fund revenue increased by $38.3 million, while our grants decreased by $2.8 million.
This budget is in alignment with our strategic plan and our board goals. So there are actually investments in graduation pathways in which we're helping to provide an individual, a dedicated individual at the schools, at our high schools, to ensure that students reach 5 or more credits. There's continued alignment of curricular materials to the next generation standards, in particular looking at elementary mathematics and looking at high school ELA programming. Literacy and numeracy programming is just continuing to have an investment, actually connecting, making sure that the curriculum is supporting the science of reading. We are actually ensuring students get hands-on learning experiences with mathematics and using manipulatives. There is special education and English language learner programming investments. You will see that there's some significant increases in the special education department as a result of special classes opening, as well as some expanded models for bilingual programs at, for instance, East Lower. We continue to have our community schools model, which we have 12 community schools across our district that is maintained. We continue to maintain the social emotional supports that we've put in place, that being telehealth, that being ensuring that we have a counselor, social worker in our elementary buildings, and they are ratioed and proportioned throughout the district, as well as our hub. And then finally, this budget also has the East EPO, supports the East EPO transition, and that the MOA that has been established between the district and the East East lower and upper communities continue to be supported for an additional year. Next slide. We have made reductions in central office, that being administrative staff. We've had made reductions in non-instructional staff, and we continue to look at our teachers on assignment. And school staff and contract alignment has also been established, ensuring that we are getting close to the student enrollment counts. And that's actually in the academic plan, in the financial plan, to ensure that our numbers are accurately followed as per our collective bargaining agreements. We have a lot of future implications. So expenses are anticipated to exceed revenues in the future. Our state monitor explained this extremely well, that years down the line, next year we potentially face a $50 million budget gap. And the year after, it just incrementally goes up. And we could be out of fund balance if we don't make drastic decisions, even by 28, 29. So we definitely have to keep that in mind and ensure that we are consolidating positions, consolidating departments. We have declining student enrollment. It's shown, you'll see, there's a chart right within the actual budget that shows that our enrollment continues to decline. We also continue to have schools, charter schools open, that also those students leave the district. There's increase in healthcare costs, legacy costs, and employee compensation. So every year there are increases in our contracts. There's going to be continuous increases in healthcare, and more individuals are retiring. So those costs will be increasing. Rising operational costs, transportation, gas, energy, all of those things continue to increase, beyond inflation, actually, and we have to account for that. And then further, finally, but not least, the federal landscape, we have that to worry about. We don't know what is going to happen or what will continue to persist, but we just have to be ready for this all. Next slide. So today for the budget deliberations, we have sections 1 through 4, 1 and 2 being the introduction and overview. So section 3 would be reviewing the financial structure, that being the general fund, special aid fund, schools food service fund, and then finally section 4, which would be the school profiles. I do want to preface that the budget book that you have in front of you is in fact a draft. It is a draft. We are moving from our antiquated PeopleSoft system into our Oracle system. Our budget team, our finance team has done a diligent job really ensuring that we got to you as accurate information as possible. However, we continue to make shifts in special education programming, English language learner programming, which will cause some further adjustments as we continue to deliberate. So I do want that to be known, and I wanted to be upfront, clear, and transparent in that regard. Day 2 of the budget deliberations, section 5, that will be the area profiles. So we will have discussions about any of our programs, are profiles that are within the budget book. I also failed to mention that under previous board leadership, one of the recommendations was that due to the transition of Oracle, the fact that I'm interim, we have an acting chief, we would keep the budget book the same. So I just want to make that very clear to the public. But that's not withstanding some input for some possible recommendations, on how to continue to improve the process. Day 3 will be section 6 and 7. That will be discussing all grants. And then finally, section 7, which we actually might delve into some portions of that depending on the questions tonight, will be the district data and employee review. And so with that being said, we can begin budget deliberation day 1. You could pass to the next slide. And right now, we have sections 1 through 4. 1 and 2 are the introduction and overview. So we would just go right into section number 3, where our Chief Financial Officer and our Budget Director, Mike Mahaney, will give some information regarding the financial structure. Thank you.
So section 3, our financial structure, includes the general fund. You'll notice a reduction in function. You'll notice a reduction in function and account codes throughout this section. This was a new format that aligns with the New York State Comptroller's Chart of Accounts. We've spent a lot of time on working to correct past codifications, so you'll notice a lot of that. The special aid section shows a decrease in kindergarten teachers and associate directors as they were transferred to the general fund. Our school food service fund is also in this section. One of the big changes with this year is that we moved all of the budgets for the school food service workers into the schools. And in section 5, we're just going to talk about the school profiles. That
Section
includes,
4.
I'm sorry, section 4. Section 4 includes partnership organizations, enrollment, student need indicators, all the lists of grants, and all their financial summaries for each of the elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools.
So thank you, Chief Blair. And now I am going to put it back in the hands of President Simmons. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Strickland. We do recognize the hard work and the transition of Oracle. That doesn't sound like it was very fun at all, and actually was very cumbersome and had a lot of things that I think you're still working through. So we appreciate your tenacity in working to get the budget lined up, and I'm confident this evening what we have in front of us is a balanced budget. We recognize that commissioners had the opportunity with some of these kinks to submit questions to the question log, which will be going into our first round of deliberations. And again, the questions presented this evening will be focused on sections 3 and 4. What I'd like to entertain is maybe a round robin style of questions. We'll each start off with one and maybe work our way through at least 2 to 3 questions. Some have already been entered into the question log, and where administration will have some responses for that as well this evening, correct? Okay, so with that said, I am going to, I don't see any eager hands. No hands, okay, so I'm going to start this end of the table here, and I'll start with you, Commissioner Griffin.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pull this over so everyone can hear me. And if I ask a question and it kind of is not where it should be, please reel me back in, because I apologize for that, because I'm still learning the dynamics of this budgeting thing, so my questions may be maybe in another area that I shouldn't be in at this present time, so I apologize for that.
And that's okay, we're
Off
gonna
the
do it
front-
with one
yeah,
one question.
off the muscle. We were talking about, the budgets with the schools, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, do we have an itemization from each school and their budget and how that is incorporated into what you guys get, to do the budget that we have in front of us?
Right now, each school has a list of compensation, equipment, contractual, and supplies all listed on each profile.
Okay, so is it an itemized budget, though? Does it break it down? So this is for, we have, this is number one, number two, number three, this is what this was bought on this date. Do we have an itemized budget for each school? Each school has, just for instance, we have a school that has $6 million, right? So that school's $6 million, do we know what is bought with each, what is bought at each school with the monies that we are giving them? So when it comes back to us, does that money come back to us and show us exactly what was spent and what wasn't spent and where that money goes that wasn't spent? Do we have that information?
So the budgets, we know what is spent. The schools get TAPU funds that specific, I mean, they can use that.
I'm sorry, if you can, Chief Blair, speak into the mic more directly. Yep, I can hear you.
So right now, our schools get TAPU funds, and they're allowed to basically budget line items for the things that they need for the school, like overtime, supplies. Each one of those TAPU funds has to have a line item budget that more or less they identify what they want to purchase, and it is basically supplies, contractual equipment, and a lot of overtime, additional pay, and the things that they've actually purchased, we have record of what they've actually purchased with those because we do requisitions that order goods and services, so we can actually see exactly what they would like, what they've ordered and what they've purchased.
Okay, so for the record, if I asked you for an itemized budget, an itemization of each school right now in our district, would you be able to provide that list for me in reference to the itemization for each school, so we know which money is spent and where to go and what was left?
The itemization for the budget?
No, for each school, yeah, for each
For
school.
each school?
Yes.
Yes, we could.
In the budget.
Okay, and so that's readily available because you had to have it to do this budget right here today. So it's not something that would take like 4 hours to do because you already have it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
In the
Thank you,
budget.
Commissioner Griffin.
It's in the budget already. It's the profiles.
I hear
It's
something.
already in the budget.
Is that Commissioner Elliott? Okay, so I'm going to jump up to the screen, and then we're going to bounce back onto the table. Commissioner Elliott, did you have some comments?
Yes, please. Yeah, let me just say that we've got to make sure that we are reviewing the information that we're being given, because what Commissioner Griffin has said, it's already in the budget book. All that information is there. But my question has to do with regard to, is there a way in which we can allocate the budget based on the board goals and strategic plan? Do we know how much money in that budget is associated with each board goal? And can we have that in some kind of a supplement
Yes.
for the public?
Yep.
And I'll direct that question to the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Elliott. So we are absolutely working on a sort of a high-level document that you would have that actually shows where our dollars are going. So for instance, it's pretty difficult to do that with the A-Fund budget. For instance, all schools support all of the board goals. Okay, so what we wanted to do was ensure that we kind of captured the extras and showed how much we've allocated towards specific board goals. So for instance, 3 through 8 math and ELA, what we did was we looked at our reading teacher counts and salaries, intervention prevention counts and salaries. We looked at any of those curricular programming or extra pay and things of that nature that actually may live in the title funds. And we will have a supplement together. Because we've cut positions, what that actually have done is that our title funds are still needing to be balanced. However, you will have a preliminary insert around how those additional dollars are allocated towards the board goals.
So not the entire budget can be
That would
attached to
be-
each one of the
that would-
goals? Is that what you're saying to me, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, that is correct. That would be actually very difficult. So also, for instance, like a teacher also has an impact on our social emotional goals, or attendance. But again, with the title funds, we can actually show you how we've broken down the funds to support each of the priorities. That is how we're planning as we move forward.
And just my last question, that would not be misleading?
No, I
Because you
mean,
don't have
well,
all,
I'm sorry, go ahead, I apologize.
yeah, because you don't have all of the budget so tied to the board goals. Wouldn't that be misleading? And probably be needing to ask more questions around that.
So there's a possibility that one would be slightly jaded from that. However, again, so when you think about a school building, the school typically supports all of the strategic plan priorities. So it's sort of very difficult to break those items down and really says this percentage is for this priority, this percentage is for this goal. So what we wanted to do was we could start easily with our title funds, which are the funds that help support the programming in our schools, so that we can continuously improve student achievement. And that's where we actually can show a more accurate breakdown attached to the goals. So that part wouldn't be misleading. It's just actually figuring out how to do that within the A funds. That would be rather difficult. And I would rather not put that out there because of the fact that there could be so many varying factors as to why, how a school is meeting those board goals.
All right, thank you.
You're
I just think in
welcome.
the future, we need to be looking at that
Yep.
some kind of way.
Thanks.
Because that communicates more specifically our financial program to our community. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott. Clerk Nguyen, do you see any other hands online? Because they're tiny from here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move down the way from the screen to Commissioner Santiago, if you have one question you'd like to present this evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, I do have a clarifying question. I know you're asking for one question, but if I could start off with a clarifying question. In the beginning, on page 12, 1989.
Excuse me. I'm sorry,
sorry.
Commissioner Santiago, we need you to speak closer
Yes,
to the mic.
Thank you. Page 12, item 1989. It says unclassified expenditures and indirect costs. If you guys could just let me know what that means.
Yes.
It's about about $1 million.
2.4 million.
2.4 million? Yeah. What I'm looking at right now, it says 1 million, but there's $2.4 million attached to it, and so.
Yeah, page 12. So the unclass, this is just the title the state gives to that function code. So we don't really have anything that's unclassified, but we do have indirect costs. So those are charges in the special aid fund that we're allowed to charge a certain percentage back from the grants for overhead. And that comes into the general fund as revenue and an interfund transfer. So that line right there, the 1.6 million, represents that indirect costs that we get aided on grants that have those.
Okay, and then here's my actual one question. For the school profiles, I'm just wondering for a school like Padilla High School, there's different schools that has gotten raises as far as the amount of money that they've gotten between last year and this year. Certainly with Padilla High School being a challenging high school that we have here in the district, I see that there's about a 6-figure raise between last year and this year. And so I'm wondering, just when we're looking and we're formulating the budget, and I'm sure the principal, is incorporated in this, but when we're formulating that for the high schools, what are taken into account while we're formulating the budget for the individual high schools?
So you do have the TAPU, and that's based off of the students that attend that school. but how a school is staffed would be contractual amounts. So if you have this amount of students, you get this one teacher, or it also goes off of course requests. So that's how the staffing is derived. And in this case, you do see a drop in compensation, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be any difficult or less services. That there could be a decrease in an administrator. Actually, I think one AP in this particular case is the reason why there is one decrease. They were over allocated, but there's a myriad of reasons that drive staffing, and much of it is contractual in nature. Does that answer your question?
No, not really.
Okay,
Truthfully,
wow.
it's on page 44. Maybe we're not on the same page.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not talking about compensation, unless this budget that's right here is specific to compensation.
That actually is the same. So what I was on was the school profile.
Yeah.
And that's actually the same number that you see. That
Right, and so is this,
0.94%.
the 17 million strictly connected to compensation, or that's the budget for the entire school?
The 17.97 million is,
Okay.
the 17.69 million is connected to compensation contractual supplies. Yes, all of those. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
The rest of my questions will go to the board log.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Santiago. Bouncing down again to the other end of the table, Commissioner Patterson, do you have a question to present this evening?
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move to my left and Vice President Malloy.
Thank you. I submitted my 12 questions in advance to the budget log, so I won't hold us up with a lot of those. I will say I'm looking through the log as we speak, and I do need more information and follow-up on some of these responses, because I need more specifics. So I'll be following up with you just on those. Like, for instance, how do we get a more detailed look or breakdown of our schools or central office administration, the costs, the job descriptions and function on district operations, as well as the impact on teaching and learning? I'm looking just for more details.
Sure.
On all of that, and I know I was told that there's a positions summary starting on page 186, but then the other information requested needs to go through human capital and needs to take additional time. So I do appreciate that. I just
Absolutely.
want to have more specifics.
No problem. And if you talk to the clerk Wynn, what we'll do is just make sure that we get that information for you. I do know that for one of your responses, our techie exec director of budget was able to get you percentages of how much schools are allocated certain percentages,
For the
for
grant
aid funds,
funding, that
grants,
one?
all of those.
It did
So,
say additional
yep.
report provided, but I don't
Yes.
have that yet.
So
Yes.
we are definitely trying to be diligent and respond to all
Okay.
questions and actually make enhancements, which I actually really like that document. Now, thank you for your suggestion or your question on that.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. No other questions.
Thank you, Vice President Malloy. And so I do have a question I'd like to pose, and it was presented earlier. I kind of heard it. I want to take a look. I think it may be on page 5 or so. And so I would like to kind of dig into how we were able to close the $38 million gap. I know that several months ago, we acknowledged that we had one. And then our general fund revenue, compared to last year, it increased by about 38.3 million, somewhere around there. And I know that we're waiting on the state to finalize pieces. So I want to know if we are feeling confident that our revenue will remain the same. Where are we? And tell us how that all happened.
So first and foremost, we were able to close the initial 39 million, I believe, $38 million budget gap because there was an increase in foundation aid from the state. The state did actually go through and sort of, they were using elements of the Rockefeller report that was conducted, getting feedback from districts and figuring out what it is that they can do to really make the foundation aid across the state more equitable. So we did have an increase there. However, with our increase in legacy costs, our health care, we still found that we had a slight gap. we needed to do our best to cut, how many positions?
Over 130.
Over 130 positions, and I already went through and said, we looked at retirements, vacancies, and my team and I, we got in a room and we had to do it. That's where we looked at the mandated versus non-mandated positions. We looked at who's retiring, how can that work be absorbed by others, and we were able to look at some operational costs as well, look at all of our lines meticulously, that being looking at our energy lines, looking at our transportation lines. We had like some slight efficiencies with some health, like over budgeting health insurance, so we could snag a few dollars here and there. And eventually we were able to get to a balanced budget. But I definitely need to thank the team for their hard work and diligence with 3 days of locking ourselves in a room and getting it done.
I think next year we're going to be pretty tight. There's not a lot of wiggle room anymore. We really went through all the operational budgets and cut whatever we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, so that was our first round of questions. And Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, sir.
So I am familiar with healthcare and the cuts and savings that, we can have this year and that we can have within the next couple years. Did we utilize any of that data, that information, the team that was working on? And maybe we'll talk about it offline, possibly, but I'm familiar with an organization that's been working with the district to help us save in that area. So maybe I'll just approach it, talk about it offline. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Okay, and so I want to open the floor up for another round of questions. And just trying to look at the screen. Tom, you see something here? Okay. So I see Commissioner LeBron's hand.
Yeah, I just want to put on record, because I want, I just want to have it on record for today, that I won't be asking questions on a budget. And this is no slight whatsoever to the administration and to our outgoing interim superintendent. I have a lot of respect for the administration and his team and the efforts and work to navigate through the most difficult budget of any person, in my opinion, that is having to do these budgets across school districts. So any superintendent, whether they're interim, incoming, outgoing, it is just going to be a mess because of what's happening at the federal level. And so I just want people to understand that there's no real questions or authentic questions that I personally feel I can ask in this moment in time. We have no real indication of impact yet on our budget by the federal government. And what we do know is that we're not exempt from the same harm that is happening across other school districts in the state. We're not exempt in Rochester, and we're certainly not exempt in RCSD. And I do believe that we are going to face some really difficult and challenging times. And we'll continue to have those conversations as things come up. But I just want the listening audience tonight and for the record to reflect that for myself, there are no questions that I could ask where there's going to be an answer that's going to satisfy the unknown. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner LeBron. Is there another hand? Okay, Commissioner Elliott, please.
Thank you. So I'd also like to just put on the table with regard to our enter into negotiations with our unions. The unions also have to understand that these are not normal times, and so that it is going to require sacrifice if we're going to, in the future, balance our budgets. And with the unknowns with the federal government, I just want to have the unions to recognize that these are difficult times, and we have to look at how can all of us work together on behalf of our children and families and move this together collectively. So again, I will say that moving forward, there are probably going to be sacrifices, and just want that the union members and leadership to understand that that's the kind of perspective as we engage into negotiations that we have to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott. I'm glad to know that Superintendent Strickland is proactively taking on what you just expressed, and I'd want to give him an opportunity to expound on how he's working.
Well, we really can't talk about too much because we are currently in negotiations and we don't want to violate any of those procedures. But I definitely will just echo that we definitely hear what you said, and yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Okay, so before we end this evening, I do want to ask if there are any other questions that commissioners would like to pose. We have time for one more question from each commissioner.
Thank you, Madam President Simmons. I apologize. My allergies are going crazy right now. But at the end of the day, I wanted to know, and let me know if this was something that you can ask, or maybe it needs to go to the board now, about the building-based budgeting. Is that something that we could look into, and would it be beneficial for our budgets going forward? Is that something that you would have to look into?
So, great question, Commissioner Griffin. Just want you to know that that is something that we're actually looking into for our resource allocation grant. Looking around in terms of equity and ensuring that our schools are funded appropriately based off of the need. So that is actually in the works, and we hope to roll something like that out, within the coming years, so that schools are able to sort of place positions and funds and things of that nature to exactly where they need. But I do know that for a fact. I started on that team. Deputy Turner is leading that team. We have examples of what that looks like. Our budget director is also a part of that. Grants is a part of that. So that is currently in the works.
The plus for that for me, as just doing the research on it, basically takes the school and governs their budget to fit the needs of the school. And it also removes people from the central office location and basically puts them into the school setting so that we know that they're getting their athletics, their CTE, their arts, their music, all the things that would govern a school to be successful. So that's something that I think personally would be beneficial to each school, because who knows their school better than the principal and the administration at that school? What I'm finding is that a lot of administration in schools are fighting to get certain things or certain monies allocated efficiently and sufficiently so that they can give what they need to their students. So going into a building-based budget and giving it to the principals to allocate those funds, I think would be a great benefit to the students, and it would save us money because then we could reduce in our RCSD in our central office. Thank you.
Yep, good thoughts. Just want you to know, though, that schools are allocated title dollars. Some of them are, a significant number of our schools are comprehensive support schools in need of improvement, and they are receiving allocations from New York State Education Department because of their status. And last year, that money was tied up in the various initiatives to kick the strategic plan off. What I've done was made a conscious effort to ensure that schools will have their reign over the 1003 targeted funds. So they will have, in essence, the ability to fill those roles. Now, I do want to make one caveat. One of the things that we want to be careful about doing is continuously making, because usually schools like to add people. And people need to go somewhere when the grant goes somewhere or when the funds go somewhere. So there's just certain things that are put in place to ensure that doesn't happen. And also, like, one of the things that I've done or directed this year is that we need to add individuals that are going to be working directly with children. Not another person that's, a coach or what have you, but individuals that are going to help support our students in the classroom. So thank you.
Thank you.
With that, can I put a question on a question log before I forget?
So
Can
I
I,
think you can, does she need to submit it, or can she just verbalize the question to you? Okay.
okay, can you please, I would like to know how many teachers on assignments we have currently, and why can't they be put back into the school system so they're working in the schools, because we do have a shortage. So I just want to know those numbers and how we can move forward on something like that, because I think that would be something that would be beneficial to our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Yeah.
Just for clarity, I did capture that, but please also note, in terms of the numbers, I did send you all the document, and it's in the prior question log, that part of the answer, but I will make sure the second half asking about their placement gets addressed.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or statements before we end the first round of budget deliberations for this evening? And again, I do want to, Commissioner Santiago, thank you.
I'm just wondering how specifically are we connecting the relationship between student enrollment and our teachers and FTE number that we have here. I've seen in some schools where you have a decline in enrollment, but a rise in staff, which isn't always a bad thing, but it could be a bad thing if they're not being used in a productive way towards the building. And so I'm just wondering how are we connecting our enrollment to our staffing numbers, and then also trying to use our staff to the best of the ability in the schools to be beneficial to the students, also in decreasing class sizes.
So staffing is established by contractual limits. There's contracts that are in place that says we only can have a certain amount of students in classrooms. So that's generally what drives the number of staffs that are in buildings. When you see low enrollment, but a high number of staff, many times that is because they may have a significant amount of special classes in their buildings. That means more teachers, more paraprofessionals, a teacher assistant. It really depends on their special education programming. The one thing that I will say that God bless you, the one thing that I will say is that if there's something that we wanted to do, such as make a commitment to capping class sizes, that drives a cost. That means that you would have increases in the budget, and there wouldn't be a full caseload as per the contract. So I just want you to be aware of that. And yeah, I hope I answered.
I'll just push a little bit back on that, because I think that we do have a large load of staff here, and I think that sometimes we have them in the wrong spaces instead of in the classroom. And so I think we have more than enough staff in this district to have better scores than we have currently. But I think it's just about the organization of those staff, their titles, their job descriptions, and what they're supposed to be doing, and how their work is actually benefiting the students. So I believe that there is possibilities, but it's going to take a restructuring. So I hope to see that in the upcoming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. I do see State Monitor Alisea on the camera at this time. I want to give you an opportunity.
Thank you, President Simmons, and good evening, everyone. I just want to remind the board and remind the team. First, I want to commend the superintendent and the team for the work they're doing, but just a quick reminder, the supplies for the schools in receivership, that I would like to see that money being reinstated back to the schools. And again, I know that it's a draft document. When I look in the book, page 6 has 5,668 employees. When I look at the end of the book, page 218 has 5,800. So they can align and be specific of how many positions are included in the general budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alisea, for that. Are there any other hands? Am I missing anything online?
No, ma'am. not
Okay,
at this
thank
time.
you very much. And so again, I do want to acknowledge the work that has gone into trying to balance this budget, the issues with Oracle, and recognizing that we are in a time of uncertainty. We cannot afford to freeze. We must try to have some form of a plan, even if the plan shifts. And even if the plan ends up not being a plan and we have to scratch it all together, but we have to try to move forward. But it is going to, without a doubt, require a significant amount of focus, leaning in, and as much alignment as we can muster as a school district. That is going to be the imperative truth that we have to stand in. So thank you for this evening, and we will be following up. I would implore that commissioners submit questions to the question log as we move forward in this process. We all now have an updated budget book. For those online, you should be able to access this budget book online as well, and recognize that we are in a space where things could change. Thank you. Oh, let me adjourn the meeting. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the budget deliberation.
Board meeting poll, just a reminder.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Griffin. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned, and feel free to take the board meeting survey as well.